On today's news, there's been a new COVID outbreak in WWE, big plans for the Royal Rumble might have been revealed, Ollie's review of last night's AEW Dynamite, and more. Now you better watch out, you better not cry, you better press that subscribe button and enable notifications, or so help me God, you will only be getting coal for Christmas.
Support WrestleTalk!
With the new Omicron variant being a huge issue the world is facing right now, and has been for a little while, wrestling shows have continued on, hoping and praying it would just politely go away. Unfortunately for WWE, it hasn't. According to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, he heard from several sources that after the latest loop of live events WWE held, a number of talents and staff were feeling run down, and some have since tested positive for COVID-19, while others who were feeling sick are still waiting for their test results to return. While tomorrow night's episode of SmackDown has been pre-taped and will be unaffected by this, it's uncertain what the full extent of the repercussions will be, as WWE are looking to hold their inaugural Day 1 event on January 1st, and with isolation periods and it being currently unknown who is tested positive and who has to isolate because of contact with them, Day 1 could potentially be in jeopardy. In a follow-up report, PW Insider notes that WWE still plans to go ahead with all their US shows, even using NXT talent as replacements if need be, though there has been a lot of calls and a lot of running around in the company as they try to stay ahead of the situation. This follow-up report also noted that there had been more positive cases since their initial report, so the full extent of the positive cases is as of yet unknown. Here's hoping everyone stays safe, and for those who have tested positive, they get better soon. But later in the month after Day 1, we have the Royal Rumble. And aside from the Rumble matches themselves, the big question is, who is Roman Reigns going to face? Because at this point, I think we can all see that Reigns will retain against Lesnar at Day 1, and then we'll face him again at WrestleMania, because we haven't had enough of Reigns versus Lesnar at WrestleMania. God damn it. WrestlingNews.co is speculating, and that's what it is, speculation, so take it with a pinch of salt, that house show loops are generally pretty good indicators of what matches and feuds are to come on TV. And on the latest house show circuits, Drew McIntyre has been teaming with the New Day to take on the Bloodline, meaning that the New Day versus Usos feud might very well continue past Day 1 into the Rumble, and that we might be getting McIntyre versus Reigns at the Rumble itself. It's probably the biggest Universal title feud they could do on SmackDown right now outside of Lesnar, so I'd be all for it, and also for some reason Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville don't like putting McIntyre in Battle Royal, so sure, why not, I guess. And before I hand over to Ollie for his review of Dynamite, some nice news coming out of the AEW locker room. According to Wade Keller of PW Torch, despite the venomous promos CM Punk and MJF have been trading, the two seem to get along well behind the scenes when people see them together planning their segments. Keller also noted that some wrestlers on the roster have their own locker rooms, however that's less about who is the most important and more about who feels like socializing. According to Keller, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and Darby Allin all have their own locker rooms, also noting that Bryan Danielson doesn't, and changes in the locker room with everyone else. But possibly more heartwarmingly, CM Punk has been super receptive to any and all talent approaching him with questions and the like. In fact, one younger wrestler on the roster told me, yeah, he's been super chill and receptive since he's got here, he's a good dude. See, he does like wrestling after all. Merry Christmas. And now it's Thursday, you know what that means. It's time for Ollie's review of AEW Dynamite in about 5 minutes.
Dynamite's Holiday Bash special opened with a battle of who's got the better entrance music. Adam Cole's, baby! Or Where Is My Mind by the Pixies for Orange Cassidy. Or Go to Hell, one of the greatest bands of all time, It's All About the Boom! Cassidy and Cole wrestled a pay-per-view level match for me, telling the story of who's the better man in multiple ways. Who's the better technical wrestler? Cassidy, because Cole had to resort to a backstabber. Who's got the better best friends? It's a draw, because Chucky and Trent took out the Young Bucks before they properly interfered. Who's got more heart? Both of them. They're kicking out of each other's signatures in the back and forth final third, but ultimately, who's the dirtiest player? Cole wins that one, and the match, as Bobby Fish distracted the referee and the debuting Kyle O'Reilly took out Cassidy, letting Cole get the pin. The Redacted era have reunited in AEW. No, not you, Roddy. And it was pretty good, I guess. It was pretty good. I liked it. The difficult thing with first impressions or wrestling debuts is you only get one of them. And I have to be honest, that redacted. Reforming in AEW fell short of my admittedly lofty expectations. Cole and Kyle squared off against each other, presumably to reference how they were blood feuding the last time we saw them. A nice touch, but one that made it a bit confusing, particularly if you don't watch NXT. The Bucks looked blindsided, Cole looked like he was caught between two girlfriends, and I was just confused over Cole's motivations here. After setting this up as the best Christmas gift last week, it was a terrible Christmas gift. The Bucks seemed really upset. How could you not have foresaw that? I also think this is an angle that should have closed an episode to really feel momentous, no matter how fun the main event was. What did you think of Kyle's debut? Let me know in the comments down below. Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson was announced for the first Dynamite of 2022 on TBS. Following their 1-hour draw last week, Page told Tony Schiavone he'd never felt less of a champion the whole 3 years he's been in AEW. And that's saying something. He had a really bad 3 years. This brought Bryan out to a big, seemingly mixed reaction, far louder than Page's, who called Hangman an entitled millennial cowboy, saying he wants judges for their rematch as they would have declared him the winner last week. Page said they won't need them though, because he'll win in under an hour this time. Hangman finished on a strong promo, but then just before the camera cut away, he dropped his head like he didn't believe what he had just said, which could be some excellent character work. MJF called out Wardlow for not being there to save him last week, and then stood in front of him for the rest of the Pinnacle's promo on Punk, Sting and Darby. Some very smart staging, which led into another squash match victory for Wardlow, destroying Captain Shawn Dean with 4 powerbombs. Dan Lambert is back. I like him. And apparently Tony Khan has set him up to fail with an impossible assignment. Get Cody Rhodes cheered. How's he gonna do that, he asked. Cody's a bigger dick than he is. Britt Baker cut a promo from a Christmas scene telling Riho, "You'll shoot your eye out, kid," a reference to the 1983 film A Christmas Story, which the crowd reacted to like she'd just called someone The Miz. We got a video package giving us more details on what the Owen Hart tournament has in store for us, and now we finally know it's in Owen Hart's memory. But you kind of already figured. It was a lovely video package though, putting over Owen as a wrestler and a human being. But I still don't know what the cup is or what it's for. Hopefully it isn't just another standard single elimination format, as we've just had 2 of those. Like this next match, Nyla Rose versus Ruby Soho in the TBS tournament semi-final, which started with Ruby genuinely getting her hands stuck in her jacket. Damn it, punk rock look! But the man won't know how much I disrespect him unless I have very tight leather coats. Vicky Guerrero pushed Soho off the top rope and Nyla targeted her shoulder for some excellent selling, but Ruby kicked out of the Beast Bomb and then pulled Nyla off the second rope into a riot kick in a great finish to advance to the finals. Malachi Black mostly dominated Griff Garrison in a fun squash match, also intimidating Brian Pillman at ringside. He set Griff up for the Black Mass, but made him tap in a half Boston Crab on his injured knee instead, and then kicked Pillman in the head for good measure. There were no teases here of the King that supposedly joined the House of Black last week. Matt Hardy with Private Party said Isaiah Cassidy will pound Jungle Boy's ass on Friday, which got a retort from Christian, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Matt and Christian mentoring feuding tag teams is a really cool mirror. JR is back next week from his cancer treatment, and the main event was a stupidly fun 20-minute plus 6-man tag of the Pinnacles, MJF and FTR versus the Face Paint Gang of Sting, Darby Allin and CM Punk, who all awesomely referenced each other's makeup. This match hit every note it was designed to. Great wrestling, check. Goofy heel shenanigans, check. Baby faces looking strong, check. Nostalgia pops, oh check. And expertly teasing the promotion's major feud right now, check. MJF and Punk never touched once, with MJF at one point sprinting up the stands and back down again to tag out to avoid him. The match broke down into chaos, with the camera even missing some spots, just catching an overturned table. You just gotta assume Darby did something insane there. And MJF massively overshot a dive outside, seemingly landing face first. Thankfully, FTR appeared to absorb enough of the speed, and MJF was up for his spot seconds later. A spot that was arguably even more scary, Sting, at the age of 62, doing a top rope crossbody to the outside. Compare him to returning legends in their 50s. The guy is incredible. All the faces hit their finishers on Dax Harwood. I imagine him taking the Scorpion Death Drop is the happiest he's ever been, and the happiest Dax Harwood has ever been looks like this. and the youngest got the pin with Darby hitting a coffin drop for the win. That is the kind of match you could show a non-wrestling fan and they'd probably get into it by the end. What did you think of Dynamite? Let me know in the comments down below. 76% of you voted for intellectual property disputed era in our poll on a poll match on the community tab. Sometimes it's how you leave them, folks, and that closing trios match elevated this entire show by a whole point. And O'Reilly's debut makes me excited for future feuds, even if the angle itself fell short of my expectations. This week's Dynamite, as always, is a 4 out of 5. Now watch my video from yesterday about the major heat between CM Punk and WWE. My realization as we approach the end of 2021, I'm starting to think that CM Punk and WWE don't like each other. Forbes have published an article about WWE 2K22, which is coming March 2022, maybe in the same way Veer Mahan is coming to Raw.